The Happyhills Homicide is a story of a broken and disturbed individual who has been brought to a point where revenge and retribution is the only thing on his mind. It is an 80s style slasher stealth game where you need to kill your victims in order to progress through different levels and unlock new tapes. While watching these VHS tapes, we are able to uncover the secrets of the Happyhills Homicide and the killer clown's hidden motivations behind each murder. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator, and welcome to the Happyhills Homicide. If you have any game suggestions or theories, make sure to send them my way on my Twitter or subreddit. Keep in mind that there will be spoilers, and with that said, let's begin. The story of the killer clown starts in year 1982 when a high school janitor named John Wade was severely injured and almost killed in a school arson. John has been treated horribly by the staff and the students throughout his years of work as a janitor in West Pine High. The only person who took pity on him was a student named Madison. Her kindness caused the janitor to quickly develop feelings towards her. Those feelings, however, promptly progressed into obsession as he felt obliged to leave her romantic gifts in her locker, even though she was much younger than him and a student at the time. One fateful day, some students from a football team decided to light fire in the janitor's closet in order to mess with the janitor, playing a prank on him, as stupid kids would do. It meant to be a prank, but little did they know, the fire had spread rapidly and quickly engulfed the entire school. Again, as stupid kids would do. Wade's body was never recovered, which led many to believe that he has come out of it alive, but with serious burns all over his face and body that most likely scarred him for life. In order to seek revenge and cover his scars, he put on the clown mask that he had kept in his closet. The killer clown and John Wade both wear the same gray overall, and the same clown mask can be seen on the janitor's bed moments before the fire had started. There are 20 tapes overall, where in each tape, the killer clown selects his victims intentionally and in a premeditative manner. Killer Clown's first victim was a middle-aged man sitting and watching TV in his household, unaware of the danger that lurks behind him. After the murder takes place, a detective is called up on the scene to investigate the homicide. When he comes to learn the victim named Gordon Baker was stabbed 16 times, with them promptly discovering that Gordon wasn't all pure himself. He had vast criminal record, listing heinous crimes such as production and distribution of CP, and was previously accused and charged for stalking playgrounds. The killer had left a political message on the wall written with the victim's blood that reads, "I am wrath." The sadistic power display and pure anger suggests that there must be a deeper, more personal relation between Baker and the killer, with it being likely that Gordon had worked in the same high school as the janitor, John Wade. In fact, he might have been using his position in the school to carefully select his victims, which the janitor might have been aware of. The janitor wasn't treated with respect in that school by anyone but Madison and was bullied by not only students but staff as well, including Gordon. Therefore, the message on the wall might be an indication of what's to come and that Gordon won't be the last of his victims. All of that combined and fueled by revenge had ultimately led to his wrath, with the killer clown seemingly being the janitor. After his first victim, Killer Clown goes on a killing spree where he carefully plans his kills and makes them more and more intricate, sadistic, and audacious. He proceeds to be selecting his victims based on their role in the school. First the blonde girl in the bathtub, then the gardener. His fourth victim is a mysterious man in the shower who we later find out to be Hank Wallace, with extensive criminal record of drunk driving and arson. The cause of his death is being burnt alive, and the message on the bathroom mirror reads, "I am retribution or the law," which suggests that the killer clown might be punishing Wallace for burning down the school with the janitor in it. He acts as a vigilante, indicating that he is the law and justice for the crimes that went unpunished, as the school arsonist was never found. On the crime scene, the investigator finds a piece of ripped cloth belonging to a janitor suit, which further indicates the killer clown is in fact the school janitor, John Wade. Subsequently, the killer proceeds proceeds to add more names on his list: an older man in the cabin, the security working in a cargo warehouse who was possibly working as a school security before the school had burned down. He then proceeds to the football team lockers, where he kills 2 football players that were most likely co-responsible for causing the fire in the Happyhills school. Then he proceeds to the office and takes out the office worker who was perhaps a school administrator or a teacher. Sometime later, 2 students are shown to be on their way to a haunted house to explore it, where they didn't expect that it would be the end of them, as the killer clown is waiting for them and kills them brutally. As time passes, the clown is seen observing 2 students after what seems to have been a house party, with 2 football players seemingly having a conversation about recent events, where they express their uncertainty and fear, saying that their friends were gone and they are most likely to be next. They intricately plan on getting rid of the killer, but he gets to them first and introduces them to the Grim Reaper. Next on the list is a fisherman and then a woman in a motel room number 13, which leads to the next victim being a cook in a burger place who was probably responsible for a school canteen, and finally the next victim being a farmer. From the homicide investigation, we quickly find out that the farmer was in fact Bill Max Sawyer, but in contrary to his previous victims, he didn't have any criminal record. The messages left on the stalks of hay, however, suggest that he indeed deserved what was coming to him. Killer's messages become gradually angrier and more chaotic, indicating that he has lost his sense of judgment and became more obsessive and compulsive than before. After killing the victim, the new tape is unlocked where the killer clown is seen on the bus seemingly preying on his next victim. It turns out that the person that he's preying on is no other than Madison Carpenter, the student the janitor was incredibly fond of when the tragedy took place and made him who he is now. Subsequently, the killer proceeds on stalking Madison quickly after she gets off the bus, not being aware, however, that he himself is being followed by the detective that was investigating the homicides. The detective has enough evidence at this point, deciding to arrest the killer when Madison realizes that she's being stalked. As the detective confronts the killer, John displays his unhinged and delusional tendencies, showing his inflated sense of self-righteousness, claiming that he is death. Despite his intimidation attempts, it's clear that the killer has principles and doesn't want to kill innocent people that haven't done anything wrong, which is against his code, disappearing in thin air, deciding not to engage with the detective. In the next step, he is seen evading the detective, continuing on stalking Madison, being seen to observe her inside her house through binoculars from a distance. The tape's name is No Loose Ends, which might be an indication that Madison is an inconvenience, simply being a loose end, and the only one left linking the janitor with all the homicides. Killing her, however, is not probably something the janitor has considered due to their history and the fact that she's protected by the police, as the detective linked all of the murders to the high school, with the police now having a suspect after the killer's little careless stalking after the bus ride. Perhaps the killer even wants to talk to her or see her, not wanting to kill her, which shows he hasn't stopped thinking about her and obsessing over her. John ultimately decides to break his own code, fully giving in to his darkness, killing the cop sitting outside Madison's apartment, not showing any remorse, as reaching his own selfish desires is more important than his twisted sense of morality. Getting rid of the cop, the killer easily forces his way into Madison's apartment. Madison, alarmed by the forced entry, quickly hides in a closet, with the killer not noticing where she's hiding. John searches the property in order to find the terrified Madison, but as soon as he gets close to finding her hiding inside the closet, she instinctually jumps out and attacks him with a knife that she was holding, not knowing that he is the janitor that she was kind to back in school, as she would possibly try to talk her way out of it alternatively. Unable to land any effective shots, she runs off trying to escape when the clown throws a baseball bat at her, causing her to fall off the banister to her death. The killer, not wanting this to happen, shows remorse as a result, saying to himself how she was the only kind person to him in school, getting drowned in guilt, realizing that he has been the evil one all along. Despite what it might have seemed, it's displayed that the killer never intended on killing Madison, as he confirms this by raising a question under his breath, addressed to Madison to why she had to run, portraying how he only wanted to reunite with her. He subsequently leaves a message on the window for the detective, reading, saying, "I'm sorry," displaying his principle and how Madison's death was accidental, something that he didn't mean to happen. The detective investigating the crime scene finds the photo of Madison with her friends from West Pine High, which leaves him with a suspicion that the killer could be John Wade, the only person whom they didn't find the corpse of. All of her friends portrayed in the photograph went to West Pine High or worked there, who all fell victim to the masked killer, crossing out all of them from being a suspect. Afterwards, seemingly fully embracing the evil and vengeance burning within him, the killer proceeds to plan the murder of a surgeon named Dr. Hawkins, who in my opinion was the surgeon of the janitor after the fire had scarred and deformed him for life, not doing such a good job at operating on him. After killing the surgeon, his next victims are members of a motorcycle gang that seem to know the killer very well, as the gang leader shouts out that it wasn't me before his death. It's not explained who these bikers are or what they've done, but based on what the leader of the gang said, they clearly have done something which they are fully aware of, yet they deny, whether being questioned by police or something else. I believe at this point, after punishing and killing all the people involved in bullying and scarring John, he embraces being the anti-hero vigilante, the agent of death, the role no one wants to take of being a killer. Someone who is now delivering punishments to those deserving who escaped justice, punishing those who did others wrong, not being about himself any longer. The final victim of the killer is shown to be seemingly a custodian in a local mall, who was most likely his colleague from the times they worked in the school. He follows the custodian to his room, but to his surprise, the police is one step ahead, not making the same mistake they made with Madison already ambushing the killer in the custodian's room. Despite the police intervention, the killer still manages to use his unbelievable skills and escape the siege, getting rid of the special forces one by one, which indicates that he must have had some sort of special training in military in order to be successful. At this point, completely getting rid of his principal and being fully evil as he kills all the innocent police officers and special forces. In the end, we are shown all the victims of the masked killer in West Pine High and the janitor himself sometime earlier. His first victim, Gordon Baker, is shown bullying John for leaving a disgusting gift for Madison. The haunted house victims, who were also bullying the janitor and calling him gross. We also observe how he was treated by his other victims, the teachers, who labeled him a freak. His colleague also didn't treat him with respect and seemed to enjoy manipulating and gaslighting John. The footballers, who were also victims of the killer clown, are all seen making fun of him. Madison, on the other hand, seems to be the only one that was kind to him. It's shown that John had a picture hanged on a board in his room and suggested that he will be with her someday and labels her his love, which further confirms his unhealthy obsession with the only person that was kind to him, Madison, and the fact that he never intended to kill her, but wanted to explain and perhaps in some twisted way even be with her. While thinking about Madison, two football players that fell victim to the masked killer are seen lighting the school on fire while trying to mess with the janitor. When the fire gets out of control, the janitor yelps for help, with the jocks noticing him trapped and helpless, but despite that, they decide not to help, ignoring him. Finally, the flashback ends and John Wade, wearing a clown mask, is seen sitting in the janitor's closet of the burned down school, with a picture of Madison still hanging on the board. That seems to be his home, as after the fire, the school was left abandoned, making it a perfect place to him stay in and reminisce on his past traumatizing life. The detective discovers his perfect hideout and all the tapes that he made of the crimes he committed, which come in really handy to seal the deal for the investigation. The detective subsequently manages to successfully shoot the killer down to his death. As the authorities collect his deceased body, after some time, the detective gets informed by a colleague that John Wade, the killer's body, has mysteriously disappeared, suggesting that it's not the end of Happyhills Homicide and the ruthless, self-justified executions of John Wade. And that's it for the end of this video, folks. If you enjoyed it, you can stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your host R, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.